Peace, family. Thanks so much for tuning in. So this is a great and fun conversation with one of my favorite people who has been a person who I've been coaching for at least about the last year or two. And her name is Tonya Franklin. Tonya reminds me a whole lot of myself from the way she thinks as a musician, her work ethic, how she goes about things, what she likes, and that kind of thing. So it's always fun having conversations with her and helping her with different things. In this conversation, you're going to hear us talk about following your heart, not letting other people's preferences really get in your way. And we also talk about some music business and how to set up your music on music distribution services and just some tips with how to go about your career. So I hope you enjoy this no matter what walk of life you're from, and I hope you find it interesting, and I love sharing information, so I hope you appreciate it. Thanks a lot for listening.
I do. I feel like I play well enough that it can hold its own.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not a blazing, I'm not a, what's the guy, what's his name, man? That guy with that flashy technique. I'm not Art Tatum or something.
Oh, Art Tatum, got you.
But
I thought you was going to say Corey, what's his name?
Oh, well, him
Corey
either.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But I don't want to be.
Exactly.
I don't aspire to be because I'm more of a melody person. That speaks.
Yep, and you have
if anything.
And you have your own
what's his
voice.
Name? Yeah, exactly.
You know
like I feel kind of freed up from that.
Right. I love that. I love that you feel freed up because honestly, that's how it should be. Because truth of the matter is, the world doesn't need another Corey Henry. The world needs a Tonya Franklin and Aaron Hill. And everybody else.
And I thank you for that because you really preach that about kind of your own individual voice and just that whole thing about letting your fingers just. That guy's technique or whatever, his kind of philosophy of music, that really has kind of got me there because, we could spend a lifetime trying to get somewhere before we feel like, okay, now I can play publicly. But you know what? No. And that was kind of the inspiration behind I need to take that next step and get my stuff out there. And it's only going to get better. I doubt it'll get worse unless I just stop practicing, or stop listening to music.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It will only get better because of who you are. And to be honest, we're our toughest critics because we're musicians and artists. But the truth of the matter is, it's already at a level where people will be touched by it. You just have to, like I said in one of my podcasts, you just got to let your birds fly. And I understand it because... It's like Erykah Badu said, I'm an artist, so I'm sensitive about my shit. That's just what it is. And we accept it. Yeah. But because of the fact that anything that you do, because naturally opening yourself up in any way, even to good compliments and accolades and touching people also opens you up to critiques and judgment. And, we have our own standards. So I understand. But that's why I'm glad that you're ready, you're pushing, you're thinking about it, and you're taking the steps forward. Because, I'm praising you, and you hold my opinion in high regard.
Oh, thank you.
And I've been praising you since you got. And
I commend you for your consistency.
Thank you.
And with the group, you doing the live Facebook things, and I mean, you just seem like you love what you do in terms of the playing publicly and even your practice sessions. It's like he clearly loves. He's in the zone, and I feel like when I listen to you that you're not trying to be somebody else. Right. You're your own artist, your own voice, Yes. So you definitely have inspired me. So I appreciate that. Yeah.
No doubt.
But that consistency.
And here's the thing.
Is what speaks to me.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And here's the thing about it. So it's reps. It's repetitions. The only way to become more comfortable with yourself is to just keep taking another step at being yourself. I literally just, before talking to you, I just got off of a call with a friend. Same conversation, different feel, but same exact conversation. And she just had a moment like that where she is learning over and over again how to how to just be herself and know that that's enough. And when it goes well,
Right.
and we kind of have like an ongoing joke where when it goes well, or before it goes well, she's like, or when she realizes like, okay, I gotta just face it, I gotta just be myself. She's a bit of a comedian, so she kind of puts it like, well, I guess I gotta go out here and be myself again. I guess that's the last resort, and we laugh about it, like, because that's essentially what it. But that's how you have to learn it, though. You literally have to learn it by being yourself. Like I think about since the last time I talked to you, and you at this point have gotten to know a lot about my personality from us having, these meetings, and then, you keeping up with the content. And the thing is, and it's not even that like it's been like a year, but like I have literally gone to like several other levels of this thing we're talking about as far as acceptance around myself, acceptance around myself musically, but then also just as a person, just how I talk and how I look and what's funny to me and how I explain things. Like it's gone to such other levels, but that's just because every time you see me show up again, you naturally get more and more comfortable with it because you get used to accepting yourself little by little and it actually being okay on the other side. And then when you find out that not only is it okay, but like most of the people are actually like inspired by you and praising you, which naturally happens when you're a positive person doing something positive. It just naturally has that result. Then that makes you even want to be yourself even that much more. And you just keep on pushing the envelope and literally just being yourself, But I have deep empathy though, and this is why I enjoy talking about it and offering what I can, because I understand, like, as a human being and being a social creature, you already are gonna have that because that's just part of our DNA. We are self-conscious, we're aware of a number of things, and we care what other people think because we have to in order to actually survive and thrive and that kind of thing. So it's already there. But then when you fast forward in time and you get to where we are now, where it's like it's even more accentuated because being in the midst of an internet environment and social media and people having that kind of close access makes us even more self-conscious. I was telling somebody about this the other day. We were talking about there was someone who works in the field of trauma with women and abuse and stuff like that. And she was working with she works in school, so she was working with a group of girls, and there was an incident that happened at the school where a girl was kind of just like put out there, like where it was a rumor that started about her, and the rumor, I don't even think that it was true, but it was just like, it developed like wings of its own just because of the type of rumor it was.
Yeah.
And we talked about how like under normal circumstances prior to now, 15 years ago, she was impacted by it, but it was only by, maybe, I can't even say, well, at max because of the school, maybe a couple hundred students. But like these students, I mean, whoever was bothering her, they wound up putting it out on Instagram, which meant that in addition to the school pressure and all of that pressure of judgment, it was also all of this judgment. And I thought to myself, because it's thinking about psychology so much, I was just like, that's a huge leap for the human brain and for what we've been used to. That's a lot to deal with, knowing that you're being judged by so many people so fast, and that could be scary. So that's why I have so much empathy for it, because we already have it, and then when you add on where we are now. And so that's why I like in my own example or just what I figured out and what I know, what I'm learning about it, I really like sharing. And the funny part, the most fun and funny part about this whole thing is that even though it's more intense that way, you actually, when you take the steps, you actually learn that you actually have the power. Because when you are not afraid to be yourself, it actually works in the reverse from what you were afraid of. Mm. Not only is it not the thing that's like comes with heavy scrutiny and heavy negativity, it's actually more positivity than anything, because of the fact that you're actually doing something that, as far as human history, we've all been afraid to do. And so that becomes inspiring to people who are like, I'm afraid of the same thing. It becomes empowering. You wind up giving people permission. And then you wind up realizing that the more human you show yourself to be, the more respect you get, the more, like, it's literally all the flip side stuff that we think. But we did, though, build, before this place of communication and this place of self-awareness, we did build industries and build, like, a type of society where you were harshly judged if everything wasn't quote unquote perfect and polished. We're just now getting to the place of reality TV where it's entertaining just to watch regular stuff, and we don't need it all polished up and all perfect. Now it's not only accepted, we take deep, we appreciate it deeply because we can relate. We can relate to it, and we always have been. We just are going through this cycle. So anyway, that's the long explanation of why.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, thank you.
It kind of raised a couple thoughts that just in terms of reflection, like, and you probably know this because you did a lot of stuff in the church, right?
Yeah.
People like to categorize, right? So you got this segment or people with the mindset that if you're Christian, you're only supposed to play this kind of music, right? Put you in a box, right? And sometimes I think I felt like I had to define myself as an artist. And I've never been really good at that because I've always, what you grew up with musically, that seems to never leave, like I grew up in the 70s where it's funk, and I grew up in Detroit. So before I was a Christian, I mean, funk, 70s, Motown, early or late 60s, whatever.
Right.
I mean, I wasn't listening to music then, but my when I think about my childhood and musically, it was all about the bands in the 70s. Mm-hmm. Earth, Wind, and Fire and all that stuff. And then, but then I also went into the classical realm, and then so you got that. So it's like I've always had like this mixture of styles that I appreciate.
Right.
So then you get in the church, and it's like, but then the church that I was going to, I mean, I was exposed to like Baptist stuff, so the choirs of the back in the 80s and all that, but I never played that. I didn't even know how to, but the sound of it wasn't unfamiliar.
Right.
But then, as I became a young adult, now I'm immersed in this Christian circle, it's almost kind of like, well, you got to let all this other stuff go. Mm-hmm. And then some of it was directly said, you know what I mean? And so now it's kind of like it. But then I was a music major, so it's like I can't shut that off.
Right.
Like I listen to symphonies and things like that.
I wouldn't be able to play
all kinds of music.
It's like even the gospel music that you all want me to play, I wouldn't even be able to play it as well if all these other styles didn't influence it and help with the processing.
Exactly.
Like it's so unrealistic. Yeah. It's so like naive.
And that's why sometimes it slips out. You know what I mean? And but the music, the CCM is even worse.
Right.
Because you're talking like 4 chords.
Mm-hmm.
And
right.
you might get a major 7th. You might get you get a dominant 7th. But that's it. You rarely get any extent. And so it just sounds so vanilla to me.
Yeah, it's one color of the spectrum,
Yeah. And it's just, to me, it's like so limiting in terms of, and I think about, like, well, God created all these notes. He created, all these sounds and whatnot. So, like, why would they be limited to, and then why would this one style be the style that
One word,
Huh?
Tonya. One word.
What?
Fear. That's all it is.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're
That's
right. But
literally
then it's like
all it is.
if you took out the words,
Mm-hmm.
what you are left hearing is really no different than secular music genre, right? Whatever style, you know. So it's
That's
kind of
it.
like, but that honestly, you know, as it say, like to reflect, I think that has probably, I think I've allowed that to hinder me
Mm-hmm.
because
Yes.
it's like some of that fear is, man, if I put myself out there, it's
Right.
trying to. I don't even want to say I'm a jazz artist. I love elements of jazz,
Sure.
the improvisation, the not playing everything the same.
Right.
If you play it 10
Right.
times, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like those
That's
elements.
the story of my life. Do you understand? That's the story of my life. Of
Yeah,
when I
and I know you
realized.
could relate. And I just like I want to explore the creativity without feeling judged. And
Yes.
I know it might happen anyway, but I have to like say, oh well, you know,
Mm-hmm. So I feel.
because I don't know what's
Mm-hmm.
going to come out, but I think it's the journey of what comes out is going to be. It is beautiful. It's what I'm experiencing now, like in terms of because lately too, I didn't mention this earlier, but I've been really just digging lo-fi. You know,
Yeah.
I mean
Oh
your
yeah.
societal exchange. I'm
Yeah.
like
Right.
the more I listen to it, I just get new things from it. You know, and I love listening to that style because of the colors, the
Yes.
timbres, the chords, like
Yes. Do you
and just
understand?
being able to throw in elements.
We were trying to, when the digital age came around, we were trying to figure out how to use digital to go back and get the dirty sound. Because the dirty sound, the warm
Yeah,
sound, the lo-fi is like,
yeah,
it's a beautiful color. That's why I love Jay Dilla so much, because a
yeah,
lot of his stuff is in that vein.
yeah.
If you get a chance, if you haven't heard of him already, real low key, humble, fun loving guy. Check out I think it's like Very Sick Beats YouTube channel. He's basically like a Dilla head continuing on, with the homage to like
I think
just
I might have seen it stuff.
yeah, he kind of
You
has this
said very sick beats.
yeah, Very Sick Beats. He kind of has this funny little laugh, like like this funny little laugh that he does.
Oh,
But but I like him because he's a very humble and to the heart dude. His content is not like real crazy over the top, like polished. It's real humble, but it's real consistent. And he's just a cool guy, and he's definitely in this vibe. You'll like his music, and you'll like his homage to this style and everything. So yeah, check him out
okay.
ASAP. You're gonna get inspired by him. So okay, so I got a mouthful for you, and
I know you do on that one.
I definitely got a good fun mouthful though, because I'm excited because yeah, I
I
understand.
just hate boxing. I hate things
Mm,
being people being put in boxes or
right.
categories. I just do.
So
I do.
here's the first funny thing about this equation. I said that it was done out of fear. So fear is one of the things that's a part of it, right? There's another
Yeah.
word that starts with the same sound but not the same letter that this is as well. And that is that this is actually a total facade. Let me tell you why I say that.
Okay.
On the front end, it's not a facade from the perspective of people's beliefs and like them really fit. It's not that. But it is once you get through like this much thickness, then it comes out of the other side, and it literally comes out of the other side to literally where you want to go anyway. It's the same thing I was just talking about with social media, and it's the same thing with anything else, any other field where we're moving in our world and we're finally being forced to accept ourselves and realize our hypocrisy or realize our facade out of fear
Mm-hmm.
and self doubt and consciousness. It's just based on like groupthink and people wanting to be accepted, so they following along and staying in line with
Mm-hmm.
what gets them social benefits or what gets them acceptance and love and validation and community and all these things and support is following the rules. The time that we come from before now, we, like I said, we were building ourselves in a particular way where we had a lot of real about us, but definitely some fake. And the fake was because you had to be a particular way to get certain opportunities. You had to be a particular way, whether it was to get a job or whether it was just to be accepted by a community. Now the job has been replaced by the fact that you can get a job, but you can also build your own business on the side online and do your own thing, right? And do or create your own business and use online to do it. The community piece where you had to be a particular way so that you can get love and acceptance and validation from a core community has now been replaced by the internet and the fact that no matter who you are now, you can find your tribe even if it's virtually and digitally. So you don't have to worry about being left out of the group and not having a social connections and all of the fruits that come from that we need to survive or that makes us happy. So you have people still staying in line to meet certain standards, even though that's not the world we live in, and even though every day people are finally like having to be honest with themselves about liking certain things, enjoying certain things, let's even if we just talk about music and put it there to make it relevant to what you're saying. All of the people that would say to you, you're only supposed to be doing this type of music and this is the way to go, you shouldn't be this, are all at home in their own time listening to all of the stuff you want to make. And what they're saying when they do that is they're convincing themselves that it's okay this time to listen to the music and then they fit it in with their beliefs so that they can come back to you on Sunday after having a good time, having more balance than just church music. But then they can come back to you and say, yeah, but keep it and do it, only do it this. But that also is another thing that's about their validation, not so much you. Because that makes them feel good to say that in that environment. That actually gives them the feeling that they can check off the box of what they're supposed to be doing so they don't feel as bad about the other parts where they're kind of not sure or they feel like you, like, well, God, I can't be so mad at this. This feels good. This feels fun. But that's how they balance it all out. So the truth of the matter is it's a facade because it's real on the front end. But if you do your thing, like if you start walking your walk, doing what's true to you, making the music you want to make, and still continuing to have the same intention that you have now, which is what it'll be because you're one person. Yeah. Then what will happen would be all of a sudden, as you consistently do that, people's whole tune would change, and they literally will go from saying, "You're not supposed to be doing. You need to do this," to wow, like let me give you what they'll tell you and then what they won't tell you. What they'll tell you is when you have the song that they like or the album that they like and it's doing well, then what they'll do is they'll take the belief that they were telling you and then they'll take it over to where your thing is and they'll expand it so that fits inside their belief. So what they'll do is they'll praise it and they'll even go down to the level of being like God is really moving and helping you out and really blessing you. You're still doing the same thing that they were saying you shouldn't do at first. It's just that it's going well and they can't deny that it's working out well, that you're happy and that they actually enjoy the music. And this is great for your life, and it's obvious because you are being yourself, and you're living your dream. So what they'll do is they'll just expand their belief to then encapsulate it, and then you'll have people who didn't say this before now actually supporting you and being like, because they can't hide love, they can't deny the fact that they heard, like even the music that you let me hear so far, and it was just like wow. But what they'll do is to deal with their feeling that this doesn't quite, I'm telling myself that this shouldn't be made this way, music shouldn't be made this way, it's too contemporary, the way that they'll rationalize it is it'll be making them feel good when they listen to it, and they won't be able to deny that. Like, wow, this really this soothed me. Like, this really made me feel good. So then they'll just open up and expand and include what you're doing into their beliefs. So what's happening is as we, especially all people that are dealing with, because there's a lot of people that deal with this kind of thing, especially with the music and stuff, while we're actually dealing with that, it actually is the reverse. And if you finally wind up being bold enough to just realize you can't keep running from the thing that's like really speaking to you and that you really enjoy it, and you follow through with it, then you'll notice that actually the whole time it was going to work out that way. It was just that they were afraid of not being accepted, so they accepted the norms and continued to perpetuate it. You were afraid of not being accepted by them as well as everybody else, so you either didn't do what you want to do or you held back for a minute. And meanwhile, whoever actually is bold enough to walk through is the one that everybody later goes from saying that they shouldn't have done something to giving God the highest praise and giving the person the highest praise for everything that's happening.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
So you know, and it's that's what it is, and what we deal with is just the norm, which is, you know, you want to do what you feel is called in your heart, but you also desire the support of your community because you're a human being, and nobody wants to walk the path alone and feel like nobody is like really digging them. But the best thing you could do is follow your heart.
And I like what you said, because I think that is the nice thing about the internet, social media, is there's a community for everybody.
Yep.
You know, and there may be church people that show up and may not be, but that's okay.
And like
that's another motivation. Huh?
And I promise you there will be. I'm telling you, all they're going to do.
And I believe
nobody can deny good music, right? That's really touching their soul, right?
Yeah.
So they're just going to show up and change their tune.
Yeah. I think, if anything, I feel like it will open their minds because, you know, whatever style you call it, instrumental music has always been on my heart. I'm not a singer.
Right.
Never really had I've tried to write for singers and all that, but that's not me. Yeah. I accompany singers or whatnot, but I don't think I'm meant to be this person who produces for singers. At least not now. Never have been.
Welcome to my world.
You know what I mean?
We're twins. We're twins. We're twins from as they say, brother and sister from another mother or because I'm telling you,
we are.
That's my story. That is literally my story. Yeah. That's what started the performance tracks.
I'm okay with that.
Yes, you should be.
I'm okay with that. I feel like that's a big part. You know, if you want to talk about church music, that's been missed out. Because I like to think about, you know, without the noise, if you will, of words, singers, because they paint the picture for you. Yep. Right? They're saying words but sound paints a picture that's different for the listener.
And every listener has a different story for that sound.
Huh?
And every listener has a different story that goes along with that sound.
Exactly. It's what they're going through, what they've been through, the association, and it speaks to them differently. Everybody, you know, you can't tell them how to receive that. And I think that's wonderful. I think... I mean, it's creative. I don't know. It's recognizing who you are.
That's what I was going to say. It's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
And that's the beautiful part, because that's what I realized in 2007 is when I realized that. 2006, I did a project with a vocalist. And it was really fun because it was my first ever project, period. And so going through the process and learning all the stuff that I would later use for other things was a lot of fun. You know, kid in the candy store, got a chance to actually make a project, you know. And then after that, you know, I knew the different paths. I knew that it was like, okay, I mean, because I'm in church and I'm playing in church, I'm either going to take the path of trying to be a musician that is known for playing with a bunch of big artists and travels, and that's his life,
Mm-hmm.
or traveling and playing with like a choir or something like that, or it was going to be a studio, and you had an open door studio where you work with different people, and I knew all of these lifestyles, and I could do them all because I had the skill. It's just they didn't speak to me like that. I couldn't see myself doing that. And when I got to the instrumental part, that's when I was like, I have an infatuation with instrumental music. Mm-hmm. As I started when I went from gospel and started getting into like smooth jazz, and then started listening to jazz, and I started more so appreciating like what you just said, just like the vastness of the story of instrumental, because it was like a canvas that you can there's different paintings on, and that fascinated me. And then the production thing and reverse engineering fascinated me, and I was just like, yeah, like I remember when I said to myself that if I never played for a big artist or worked with a big artist as far as on their music in the studio, I was fine. It didn't bother me because it became more important to me to see my own dreams through, which started becoming like production and making tracks and then making my own music. I was just like, I want to make my own music. And I was like, I have a few people that I want to work with, but they weren't even big people. They were like people I had access to. I was just like, I want to work because I like, but past that, and I was like, is that selfish? Like, I just want to work on my own music. But then I realized right away, no, it's not. That's my path. And then here was the next part of this story. And this was another real good one for me. When there was a band here that was looking for a piano player, and I wound up auditioning. And it wound up being a few people that kind of knew about me, so they were cool enough and connected where they wanted me to be a part of the group. And they were going to give me the lead spot. And at the same time was when I had the performance track thing on my mind, and then the instrumental, the gospel jazz thing. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking about it for a couple days, and this was a grand opportunity. I mean, I was literally in a situation where the whole band was better than me and were all people I looked up to, and they were going to give me the lead piano spot because they believed in me that much. So it was like, and I would have grown like tremendously because I would have been put in the exact circumstances that for me, I love being in because I love learning. So there was that. And then there was my thing in my head where I was like, I'm looking at this industry. I love to make tracks. I love to reverse engineer stuff. I'm getting good at it and I have fun doing it, and nobody's doing it. And like there's this huge void, and I could really do something with this that honestly it would be bigger, and I probably would make way more, and at the same time I'd be doing something that's more what I want to do. And I was like, in addition to that, the instrumental music, like I'm feeling how it speaks, so I want to be an instrumental artist. And I never forget, after thinking about it and coming to the conclusion, I had a concert with that band. And it was a big concert, and afterwards, I was sitting with the lead person and with the drummer, and they were both friends of mine. And they were like, "So, what you think?" Because it was a great concert. So it was almost like this was like the springboard. And I never forget sitting there in the audience. We were looking at some of the other acts, and I was just like, "Man, I thank you, but I think I'm gonna have to turn it down because I have this idea in my head that I know if I devote my time to it, I really, really believe that it's going to take off, Yeah. And that was just an idea versus a real situation where I could continue on and but I just knew in my heart, though, what I needed to do. And it was that. It was the instrumental music. It was the way I wanted to do it and the style I wanted to do to speak to me. And yeah, and then here we are, fast forward. And what I like about it is, like you were saying, you grew up in music a particular way. So you have soul in your blood. You can't get it out. But the point is not to get it out. The point is that's who you are. and it should be expressed through your music, not repressed.
Right.
Yeah. I think about myself. My roots were hip hop. Like by the time I got to the church, and at one point, I did think that my life was going to just be gospel music. And I remember saying to myself, like, trying to find meaning in the first part of my journey, I kept trying to be like, well, I wonder why I got so good at hip hop that, and I was thinking more so in that way, like there was a already predetermined purpose or whatever. So I was just like, why would it be that I would get good at hip? And then I came to different conclusions. I was like, well, I'm real good at rhythm and I can make click tracks real well. So I do real good in gospel because I can make click tracks better than a lot of these other people. So boom, I got the rhythm and and that was satisfying for a minute, but I was like, yeah, but I was a really good lyricist, and I also, like, I'm really good at hip hop and the other styles, and I was just like, well, and I made some other kind of rationalization of how it play out in gospel. And then finally, at some point after going through that and going through some other changes in life where my definition even of like purpose like started to shift, and do like a 180, and I started to feel like it was way more about like where I was and what spoke to me, like what made sense based on what I had a skill for, a passion for, what I had a natural knack for, a love for, like, and I was good at it, what have you. And then I got to the point where I realized that instead of trying to repress this hip hop stuff, like it just needs to have a place in my music. It needs to be right there alongside the gospel, like. And once I did do that, then everything started just going higher as far as the acceptance of it, the love of it, because it was unique, the appreciation from like the fingerprint, and like that's just what it is. You literally have to walk out your path, and you have to just know that the music that's in your heart to do is what you need to do. And when people don't really feel it or feel a different kind of way, just what I started to look at it as was like if you're looking at a kid who doesn't know any better. Like if you're dealing with a kid that doesn't know any better, then you have an easier way of dealing with it because you don't take it too deeply because you're like, you accept it. You're like, okay, I understand you feel that way, but you also know like, yeah, it's understandable because you're in that limited place. So I'm not even I can't be even mad at you. I understand So
yeah,
that's how you have to frame it up or think about it. And you have to literally do that and just keep forging ahead with what you feel called to do, called to do.
Yeah.
So
no, I hear you. So what about the tangible stuff? So the only thing I'm aware of, well, the main thing I'm aware of is, the band camp. But then you mentioned something else that I heard of, but I don't.
DistroKid.
I don't know kind of how it. Yeah, I was introduced to it about a year ago at a conference, but I hadn't really explored it and even understood the necessity for it. But kind of what would you advise would be some next steps in terms of putting my stuff out in terms of
how far
you might say, hey, you want to check out my music here.
Right, got you.
I mean, I have some stuff on SoundCloud, but I don't know if SoundCloud is relevant anymore or not.
Right, not for the way that many people listen to music now, which is that people either have their streaming service subscription, or they listen on YouTube, or they buy from iTunes, Amazon. Now take me back one more time. Where is the music as far as completion again? Like how much and where are you?
I mean, I could say confidently I got about 5 or 6 tracks that I'd be okay to say, this is not radio ready, but like distribution ready. In terms of letting people hear it.
And so here's the thing with that. I'm going to touch on this real quick. Quality, right? Quality is now defined by the content, not so much whether it's the best mix or not. People are just building playlists.
Yeah.
So once they're in a playlist, their ears adjust to what they're hearing. As long as it's, like we talked about before, as long as it's like not crazy where volumes are all over the place. But like if it's listenable, you're good to go.
Yeah, I
So
would say
yeah.
at least 6.
So with that, honestly, what I would do is I would take those 6, I would call it an EP, right? I would take those 6, I would call it an EP. I would go ahead and come up with a name for it or what have you, and I would put that together. I would get a piece of art done, and I would move forward with it. The other thing about the listening experience is, to be honest, there's a lot of times when stuff doesn't even have to be like the final version before you put it out, because, like, for instance, societal exchange, like I told you, it's up. I accept that, like, it's out and people are enjoying it. I was halfway through the track. I still had other ideas. But what I realized is, what we're really trying to do now is just create an ongoing listening experience. People, the more you just create a listening experience, the more people are going to support and that kind of thing. Because you're just keeping music in their ears. It's not about waiting a long time till you got to polish thing. It's just about, like, my thoughts are here right now. I just finished this song, and people appreciate the song and the elements. They're not like, oh my God, like, this, the mix order this. So with Societal Exchange, eventually I'm gonna actually do another, just another one. I can keep doing. I can do another one. I'm starting to, like, date my stuff now to make it be so I can keep doing just anything I want to do. And the way that it's archived is like, this is just the date. This date, it was this date's version and this date's version, because people just keep listening. So I think that you should take those, accept it as a beautiful EP of exactly where you are, put it together, think about a name that's just cool. Don't like, bog yourself down over a name, and it doesn't have to be this. It just needs to be a humble, just like, boom, I'm here and this is music I want to share. Get the artwork done, put it on Bandcamp or what have you, just because that'll be like your own personal website or what have you. That's easy to upload. And then DistroKid, you pay.
Is that what you mean? Is that what you mean by?
Say that one more time.
Sorry. Is that what you mean? Like, what's the artwork for if it's digital?
Well, you have to have something to represent the album.
CD.
You have to have something to.
Okay, so it's just like a picture of represent like the cover.
Just the cover, yeah. Just the artwork.
Yeah.
Of just the cover, yeah. And so
you get that from any, like, just a regular artist.
What I would do is I would probably go Fiverr. I would go Fiverr. Yeah, okay. I would go on Fiverr, and basically Fiverr is, a freelance website. I would go in there. I would search through the creators for somebody that you see has nice art that you like, and then I would go ahead and do that, because you can get a decent cover for $35, or you can get even cheaper cover for $20, like, if it's real simple. And they'll design it, and all you need is that, and it's going to be way cheaper than anything else, and way more, like, right to the point and quick. And then I would upload it to Bandcamp, because Bandcamp is just like you having your own site. And then DistroKid, you pay $20. It's $20 for a year, as $20 annually, and you can release as much music as you can muster. For $20. Right.
Now, what does that mean? I've heard that. What does it mean by did you say release as much?
So meaning like
I don't understand the concept.
All it is there's just, you could just make as much music as you want and put it out there. It's not going to cost you any more. Like, you don't have to pay per album or anything. You just pay $20 and you just make music and just keep put out as much as you want to put out.
How would that be different than Bandcamp? What's the difference there?
Okay, so Bandcamp is just like...
It's just a different platform?
Well, yeah, Bandcamp is like you having your own store. DistroKid is how you get to the iTunes and the Amazons. That's a third-party distributor.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So Bandcamp...
Got it. So it's kind of like a holding ground for all of your music? And it's like a holding space for all your music, and you can send it to iTunes, you can send it to Spotify or whatever.
Right. Yes. Yep.
Okay.
They're the third party distributor. So they're basically playing the middleman between you and getting your stuff on all those places. Yeah, they're the ones. All you do is upload your music to them, and then you just select the stores where you want it to go, and then they take it from there, and then over the course of the next week or something like that, it'll be up in the stores, and they'll send you messages, let you know it's live here in Spotify, it's live on iTunes now, it's live here, you know, and then you'll have a link that you can share with people so they can go. So that's third party, and so it's basically so you have both. Then you have your own store just in case somebody's like, you know, they want to come right to your website and buy, and then you have all of the other digital stores around the world where people are shopping regularly, and you can tell them that it's available, and then they'll go to their store of choice and purchase it.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. So it would be.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Yeah, that would definitely. I mean, that would be the immediate starting place, and then other than that, then you just need to pick a social media platform to be present on, so that way you can start your journey. You know, because again, the thing that and you probably remember this from before, like. The thing that I focus most on now when it comes to emphasis is not so much just saying, hey, I got the music, and then trying to get people to listen to music, but actually being a person that is like a person that's relating to the people.
Transparent.
Okay. And I'll come up with the word. I'm trying to make sure I use the right word. But the easiest way to think about it is like the difference between just showing up in front of a group of people randomly on the street and just saying, hey, I got some good music, and, you know, would you like to buy it? Versus like, hey, how are you all doing today? You know, nice day outside. You know, nice shirt, man. It's, you know, like... So being a person who is with the people who's caring, you know, just being a personality, and inviting people into your journey, like that's the deal. Like we were talking about before, really where we left off. Mm-hmm. It's starting to invite people on your journey. So yeah, being present that way, and then what happens is people you build relationships. And then that's how people start to become interested in you and your music at the same time, that's the way it is now. In fact, it's like if you don't do it that way, because even that's the way people are meeting their cup of tea people. You know, that's how people online that are looking for artists are finding them. They're finding them by coming into their world. So if you're not living that way, you basically don't exist except for just to the people that already know you. You know.
Yeah, no, I do have. I have a Facebook page. I gotta be more present, be active on it.
All you have to do,
I got brave and started. Yeah,
right.
And I just didn't. Didn't continue.
All you have to do in order to get into it is not think about it like something you have to do in order to try to accomplish something. Think about. Have you ever, as a kid, did you ever have a diary or journal?
You know, not really. I tried it, but I always felt like somebody would get to my diary. I know it's stupid, but it's
that's not stupid. I mean, that would be the diary.
You know what I mean? Like I wanted to keep it to myself. Yeah. Like nobody can get in here and get it.
Right.
But then I got this phone for that very reason. The reason I got more, you know, space on it to do video and things like that. So I now have the means to make it, because I know you talked about things don't have to be pristine, you know, edited and all that stuff. I'm like, well, this is a pretty good camera here.
That's it.
You know,
that's all you need.
Take like 2 seconds to, so I've taken some baby steps. I think getting an EP out is going to be a major step for me. And, but yeah, I think I have the infrastructure set up. I got the Facebook. I do have a YouTube. The reality is, I don't know if out the gate I'll do it all at
No,
once,
you don't.
but Bandcamp,
You
what I'm saying?
You shouldn't. This is the only thing you should do
Yeah.
out the gate. We're gonna take baby steps. So
Yeah.
all you got to do is pick a platform. So because you need, like, I don't even focus on multiple platforms, even though my stuff is. I'm present heavily on one as a personality. So what you do is you pick that platform. If it's Facebook, it's Facebook. If you are more of a person that doesn't want to talk as much, but you don't mind a photo and with the photo just a couple lines of context, then Instagram.
Yeah.
I would say you could do YouTube only, but the issue is now because of the evolution of how things have gone, YouTube is definitely a community, but at the same time, well, you know what? A person could still be on YouTube. I was going to say it doesn't give you the place to just like diary and just be a person where people can understand who you are as a person besides watching a video. Because but now they have increased, they have introduced where you can just write a message, but it's still geared more towards just watching people in videos, right? So I was going to say, but here's the thing. You could actually just live on YouTube, but the only thing is the way you would have to be present is by watching other videos and being in mad comment sections of videos. And, that to me is...
Yeah, I don't see YouTube being it for me now out the gate. I feel like it's not as personable as
exactly
an Instagram or Facebook.
So you should choose... You should choose either Instagram or Facebook based on your personality, not what you think you should do for the people or how you think you should show up. Choose it purely based on your communication style and what works for you as a person. And then from there, what you would do is you would almost think about it like you're blocking everybody out and like this is a diary. Now, there's no way you're going to be able to like totally feel that way, but if you at least think about it that way, you might be able to get into the train of thought to start making content. And what I mean by that is, if you just think about it like a diary, then you would just diary your thoughts regularly. So all you got to do is just, even if it's just working through this music stuff, it's just like, okay, so here's where I am in the process, Now, the other way I help people to kind of be sold on this idea is, and it just depends on how a person's future is. You could also think about it like you're documenting this too for those that come after you that are meaningful. Like you want to pass something down to them, and just where they can go back and say, "Oh wow, here's what she was doing here, and at this time, this kind of, And so sometimes that helps people from just a pure legacy perspective, but. The main thing is, like I say, if you can even just think, I'm just documenting this for myself. This is just where I am. So today I'm deciding to do this, and that's it. And then from there, though, what will happen is as you start getting used to that and as you start getting used to engaging more with people because they actually kind of tickle your fancy after a while, they start caring about what you're caring about. They start, being really interested and not wanting to miss a beat. Then things start to turn around. You start to actually enjoy it a bit more than it be like daunting, But the way to start small is to just first think diary and just say, dear diary. You could even say dear diary if you want, because that would even be unique. Because then on the other side, it's like, oh wow, that's very. So it starts benefiting you even when you're just like, I'm just trying to just get used to something like a flow. But that would be what I would say. Bandcamp, DistroKid, pick one platform, and then on that one platform, just start diarying your journey, making a diary out of your journey, and do it in any way that lets you get out of your head and just do it. Whether it's like you number it and it's like day 3, such and such, and you're like, I'm just taking notes and that's it, I'm out of here. Like whatever, just pick something that works for you, and then just start trying to move in that direction. And then that's it, because what will happen is at some point, your efforts in that direction will naturally make you start building relations, make people start being interested in you and interested in your journey. And then naturally, they'll start liking you as a person, which means when you like a person, then you definitely want to hear their music. It doesn't always work the other way around, which is why it's important to come this way.
Yeah.
You know, people don't just start off being like, oh, I just want to go listen to this person's music. It's just like, who are you? And that's why your journey, telling your journey works to your advantage, because the only thing better than seeing a finished product is actually being a part of the process. That gives people like work life. Like, oh my gosh, they start rooting for you as you go for your goals. So when you get a chance, one podcast I want you to listen to on my podcast is called "Be a Storyteller." It's called "Be a Storyteller." Listen to that one, because the advice that I give my buddy Mel on there, my second saxophone player, the advice I give him for his music is exactly the advice you want to take as far as how to start showing up. And so, you start telling your story. So that's really it. That's honestly, that is literally it. And from there, you can, at some point in that journey of starting the diary, as you're finishing your process, then the next step would be that you would start naturally inviting people in on that process. So you might naturally start having like a time where you record a couple of seconds of you just listening to the music and just, thinking about certain things or making certain decisions, or like whatever. It could even be like, I'm thinking about like the colors. I'm trying to figure out the colors that I want to use. Like, it could be anything, but that starts allowing people to be invited on your experience. And then from there, now, in addition to your friends and family who actually now are more in tune to what you're doing, the people you're already connected to, they're more in tune naturally. So they naturally is like, boom, they're right there and waiting for the finished product and everything. But then other people start to come in the fold too, and they start taking an interest in you. So then when you finally is available, then everybody's excited for you and it's fun, and everybody's excited.
Yeah.
They've been able to watch it unfold and you're ready. And that's all you got to do. There's literally nothing else. There's no other branding I would tell you to do. There's no other anything else, but just those couple things. That's it. Yeah. Oh, and then also, as you do that and you start allowing people in on your experience, you'll naturally start feeling more comfortable as far as letting them in on other aspects of just your experience too. So meaning like when you're not even working on an album, but you're just shedding on 251s just for a little bit, and you just like, this is what I'm working on, like, and this is, it's interesting here, where that's the thing, and that'll naturally eventually one day show up as like, so I made this shake today because I was just hungry, and this is a good thing. And you might. I forgot about the fact that this is so good for your body. A lot of people don't know this, so try this out. Like, it'll do that because you'll start to naturally feel comfortable. Yeah. And that's what's going to make people come and support your music, because they're going to like you as a person and know more about you, and they'll have more of a connection to the music at that point.
Okay, that's awesome.
So yeah.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I'm excited. I've always been excited about your music. I'm glad that you're really facing and even wrestling with like that, like needing to march forward and just be true to who you are, because it's the moving through it is going to show up in the artistry, because as you push forward with that, you're going to become more you're going to have more conviction in your music and everything, because you're going to be more like, I gotta be myself. Like, if nothing else is making me be happy to be myself, so I just got to do it, and it's going to come through. Yeah. So I'm excited about that, and I'm glad you're thinking.
Yeah, I mean, people have always been supportive. I don't anticipate haters. I mean,
right.
It'll be the exception. It's just like, But even, I used to, not on a regular basis, but, when I would share some stuff with my network on Facebook, people would, it would always inspire me to do more, like, even though I haven't posted anything much on my music page, I get the notifications that you got X amount of views, or if somebody has liked it or whatever. And I was like, man, I need to give them more because they took the time, to listen to it. Mm-hmm. I should give them more to listen to.
Let me ask you a question. Besides working on what you've been working on and different things in life, what would you say? Is there anything else, even if it's not related to what you mentioned before, is there anything else that was kind of making you not do more, not share, or not, was there anything else hindering you, or was it just the normal, like, just making time, staying focused, seeing things through?
Partially time and partially, like, again, the whole focusing.
Right.
Because there was a period where, and I'm still pretty focused on, like, health and wellness stuff, where I thought, well, maybe I should, because it's so, when you study these things, you could just spend hours and hours, like, studying, researching things.
I'm so glad you mentioned that.
It's like, right? It's kind of like, man, if I didn't have this music stuff, then I'd be able to focus more on it. But then I was like, I can't choose. I don't think I'm supposed to.
You're not.
I'm just not going to, because I'll miss it. Yeah, I have missed it, And so, but yeah, that, I would say that's time plus, / focus.
Yeah.
But other than that, not really.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I asked you that question too, because before we finish, I'm glad I thought about it a few minutes ago, but then it slipped my mind about the other aspect of your life with the health and fitness that's like, a passion of yours. So, and I'm glad you touched on it, because now it makes me tell you one more thing that I think you should do in addition to the other things to do for your music. So I think that at least starting off, like, and it doesn't even have to be on a schedule, but if you eventually get to the point where you see that aiming for something small helps you, first of all, you need to do something on that side too, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't need to be deep where you gotta, like, devote a bunch of time. It doesn't need to be that. The best thing that you honestly can do is start talking about just what's on your mind in relationship to it. Like, literally right now, as a person who has that interest, there are things that's just on your mind that you're thinking about, as far as things maybe that you're doing for yourself or want to do for yourself, or things that you're bringing back that you used to do, or new things that, like, there's something. And you should at least, like, one time a week start, like, making that be a part of your journey too, in some form. And again, it could be in a couple ways. It could either be that you just, on your drive home, you hit record on your phone, and this one, maybe if you got a cell phone holder in your car or something like that, and you just talk for a second about just what's on your mind in relationship to the subject. It could be that. It could be a live video that's the same exact thing, but you're just doing it just in case somebody stops by and they're able to hear it or want it, or they tune in. Or it could be you just recording to your voice app, just something.
Yeah, I did something recently, about a month or so ago, where somebody asked me to. Years ago, I did a video on how I make I call it herbal tea salad or something like that. Just basically a bunch of herbs. And I couldn't find the video, so I said, you know what, I'll just record another video, and I posted it. And a lot of people liked it. Like, it was me in the kitchen just showing all my ingredients and how I put the salad together, and kind of, I didn't talk a whole lot, but I talked through it, explaining these are the ingredients that I use, and a lot of people in my network liked it and watched it. So that's okay. It was pretty cool.
So this is another aspect of your homework, and I'm telling you in this way where it's not going to overwhelm you. You don't have to do a project like where you gotta, like, cook something. You gotta think like that. Like, literally, like the just the tip of the iceberg. So, like I said, it could be something where you're in your car and you're driving anyway, and you have 15 minutes to get somewhere. So you literally just talk about something that's on your mind in relationship to that subject, or anything for that matter, but you could do that subject, right? And that's it. You offer just talk about your thoughts, your likes, your dislikes, anything, what have you. And it doesn't take any extra time in your schedule or any extra anything. And that's where I think you should start. And I think you should start and just get used to doing that when you just want to do it, and when you start to feel like, you know what, this might be cool. Let me talk about this for a second. Because what's going to happen is you're more than a musician. And that's one of the things that earlier when you were first talking about like all the music that you're influenced by, one of the first things that came to mind for me was like, yeah, we're not one-trick ponies. We never have been, never will be. We just came up in industries where they only could make money off of one-trick ponies, or they could only, or everybody had to be forced to be a one-trick pony because, a record label couldn't benefit off of my quotes and my music and my jokes and it wasn't even a thing. You had to just pick one. So we live in a world now where it actually caters more so to who we really are, which is why I can have on my YouTube channel a self-care video and then a piano tutorial and then a video with my kids playing and all. Like I'm the brand, not any one aspect of it. So I say that to say that I think you should really do something real small in this vein that just is about setting an intention and just starting to flow in that direction, because pretty soon all these things will be living side by side each other as far as it'll be the thing that helps your music. It'll be the thing that one day it'll just be the herb that you talked about that you were just like, you know, I'm going to use this today. I haven't used this in a while, and here's why I like to use it, you know, just in case you didn't know. And that's the thing that makes the person like get to your music, because they really so appreciated the herb thing that they were like, yeah, like, oh, you do music too? Like, of course, like send me to your music because I love, you helped me out so much what you told me, right? So, think about doing something small in that vein. And, yep, and don't put any pressure where it's got to be like a schedule, nothing like that. Just try something out, and then after you try it out, just continue to do it, and make sure it's something like just a talk or something like that, something simple where you don't have to have any materials or time or set aside time, and it's while you're doing something else or while you have just a few times to just 5 minutes to say something, talk about something, kick back. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that would be the only other thing. And to me, that's just as important. Well, for me, in telling you that that's actually as equal as the music, as working on the music stuff. Even though I know the music is your bottom, but that's actually equal for a whole bigger, matter. You see me living it, so you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's how you get to know somebody, right?
Exactly. I mean, I got people.
Relatable,
I got people now that's following me, and I'm bringing value to their life just from my corny humor, or just because of my quotes, or just because I'm into philosophical debates. Like it's all kinds of stuff. But because I'm allowing that part of me to shine through some aspect of, through some type of content, is bringing value to my whole equation.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. All right.
So good to talk to you, Tonya. Okay.
Yeah, good to talk to you too. So I got my marching orders. So you've mentioned these things before a lot of times, but it's, times you need that extra kick, or gotta be reminded. So
it's a process.
I'm definitely gonna take these steps. Yeah. So
it's
yeah, because I do have a lot of interests,
right,
that are, to me, they're valid. I love electronic music. I've been really this one artist. I don't know if you heard of him, Vince Watt, his stuff, because I like loop music.
Right. If you can send me when you get a chance, send me something so that I can get familiar with them, like a YouTube.
Yeah, definitely will. Yeah, he's really good. So anyway,
That's
all right then.
I love it. Look, you're on the right track. You're knocking on the right door because it's the door of your heart.
Yeah.
And honestly, all that's going to lead to all the satisfaction and abundance and fulfillment and everything from it. So I'm excited about it, and like let's stay keep me posted. Let's stay in touch.
Okay.
So we can walk you through this. Yeah.
All right.